Hey, welcome to Texas!
He's a 10.
I choose this family.
Hey guys, welcome to episode 167 of 911 Lone Star Roundup. I'm one of your hosts, Grace, and with me are my lovely co-hosts, Katie and EJ.
Hey guys.
Hello. Today we'll be talking about season 1, episodes 9 and 10 of 911 Nashville, which are titled Pipe Dreams and Let It R.I.P. As always, we have a lot to talk about. I know we all have a lot of opinions about these episodes, so we're going to get straight into it. So first up with episode 9, we get into a rave scene, which I was not expecting to see a rave, but I guess makes sense for Nashville, actually. And it's like this packed club, and this absolutely full of it himself guy gets into it with somebody, pepper sprays, and it's in the air, and it hits a bunch of people, and then people are freaking out, they're stampeding, trying to get out, and too many people are trying to get out, so they all get jammed in the door. Mass panic situations. Never great. Anyway, that was interesting. I'll be real, I don't remember a whole ton about that particular scene.
Yeah.
Other than it was reverse Jenga?
Yeah. Literally. I don't know. It was crazy, and it's just like, it was also very stupid, because like, dude, why are you pulling out pepper spray in like an area that is like overpacked? Because even like the security guard was like, hey, like people need to stop coming in here because we are like way overcrowded and it's unsafe, and it's just like, it's not a good situation.
Yeah, it was just absolute chaos. Yeah. Anyway, great prelude going into the rest of everything seen as this. We're all also chaotic. So then we get to Dixie's like doctor appointment, and you're noting this, Katie, about why does she have a cigarette. I also was thinking that. I was like, what the, you can't smoke in a doc, and I was like, oh wait, it's got to be fake, and it was in fact fake, but I was just like, what?
I was like, what in the, I wouldn't put it past her to just be like casually just smoking in a doctor's office, but I'm just like, what the heck? And then it's just like, oh, okay, well, it's funny.
Yeah, like it beyond brand. So basically, the summary of her appointment is that she needs the surgery now, or could lose to her permanently losing her voice or her hemorrhaging. So obviously, the situation is getting worse. Then we go to an interesting scene. This was a dad teaching his daughter how to drive, and starting with the tractor. Listen, This was how I never learned how to drive a tractor, but this is what a lot of my sisters started with before they drove.
Yeah, I know this is a thing, but I'm like, maybe not like the best idea. Maybe let's start with something like a little like not that, like a little lower than that, and not exactly that. I can understand not it being a car first, especially in like this kind of thing. I get what they were trying to do, but I'm just like, oh, maybe this is not the best idea.
See, my first experience driving was my dad telling me to get into his Ford 350, so a very large truck, and telling me to drive it over there. Guys, I didn't know how to turn the car on, okay? I didn't know you had to step on the brake to turn the keys. This was not a good idea. Oh, I was 15. Anyway, yeah, that was a very bad experience, and was the only time my dad has ever tried to teach me how to drive anything. Not because of that. I think he just tried once and gave up. So she almost hits a cat. So she swerves, which, you know what? Based up. I do the same. We're going down, but at least cat's fine. And the tractor basically rolls and gets dad trapped in the water. They have to get the tractor off of him, which was complicated, and so they basically had to lower the guy by digging him out, because they couldn't get the tractor. They didn't have the leverage to really get the tractor off. And basically, the only real important bit from this is that they found the cat. Like, the cat was still hanging around. Turns out her babies were just hanging out in the tractor.
I was like, that's a lot of cats to pull out of that.
That was so crazy.
But, you know.
You're telling me they're all okay?
Right? Well, I've heard of somehow a cat getting inside an engine of a car.
Listen, we have the cat that we have right now. She was an outdoor cat, and it was winter, so she climbed inside the engine of one of our trucks. We didn't know she was there, so we started the truck, and then just saw the streak run. Basically, she has permanent neurological damage and also lost her ear. So it's like, you know what? She's our little unicorn. She's so sweet. But because she's only got the 1 ear. But all that being said, I'm like, what do you mean these like 4 kittens or however many there were are all just perfectly okay? I'm not mad about it. I didn't want any animal injuries, but as someone who has had this experience or similar, wild. Anyway, love the cats. And yeah, they're adorable. So moving on. Essentially, the summary of this next scene is that Dixie needs money for the surgery. It's like $45,000. And she wants Blue to lie about needing money for a car because if we remember, he crashed his car trying to stop the drunk driver from getting to the school zone, which I forgot about until this exact scene. I was like, oh right. And Blue is refusing to do it, like to lie about it at least, which based. So we go into family dinner. So the Hart family dinner with Blue being there as well. And we basically learn that Don's parents died when he was 10. And yeah, this dinner was awkward because we have Ryan and Sam. They're acting, the happy couple. They're reunited. They're living on the same roof again. And they're just slowly devolving into an argument in front of everybody. And it starts with Sam really wants a cat and Ryan really wants a dog. It does not stay there.
Nope. I kind of wish it did. I kind of wish it did.
Me too. And then they have a conversation, which is basically along the lines of Ryan being like, well, like when we got married, I want kids. Like we were talking, I thought we were on the same page about having kids. And she was like, we almost just divorced. Kids are not happening right now. She is valid.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Absolutely. And yeah, this is such an uncomfortable conversation to be having in front of your family, though. This should have just been a conversation that they tabled for later because it was so friggin' awkward. It was just like, what?
Also, it's like Sam, technically, she's doing it around his family. Yeah. So they largely kept quiet, but they would have had they probably would have gone on his side if they took part of it. So she would have I'm sure she felt very outnumbered and cornered in that. And it's like, no. Anyway, it was frustrating. I did not like this, but I was like, okay, I'm so fully on Sam's side in this. Cause yeah, you almost just got divorced. You're not bringing a baby into this.
Exactly.
Got a lot of shit to get through before we get to that. If you get to that.
Right.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah. Hated that. It was so. Oh boy. Now, moving on from that, Blue has his probie ceremony. And
this was a very weird thing. So I'm like, so basically he's having a ceremony just saying that he's a probie now, which was such a weird thing.
Which is time after the fact. Hello?
Well, the vibe I got from it is something similar to what would have been done at the end of had he gone through the traditional fire academy. At the end, they do maybe the ceremony. Yeah. So this was kind of more of a personal thing.
Yeah.
Because then they get hired at a station and they become a probational firefighter. So I don't know, but yeah, it was a little weird, but it makes sense. He needs to be officially listed as a rookie. Up until then, he's been getting, he's a cadet.
Right. They made it a whole thing is my thing, and I'm just we all know where this was gonna go, so
right.
They obviously
and Dixie's all blotting her eyes it's
I
such
know. It was too
what?
much. I was just somebody just take me out right now.
Yeah. It was a whole deal. And then Taylor and Dixie were singing afterwards. Also, I'm sorry, before we even get into this, she Dixie also completely called Roxy by the wrong name during an earlier bit, and I was
trying to not with that because I was just oh, that was so uncomfortable. That is literally the worst thing. And I love Roxy for literally calling her out and being it's Roxy, because I hate when people get somebody's name wrong and they don't correct them.
Yeah.
I absolutely I had that happen before, not recently. But in high school, people would call me Caitlin. I'd be no, my name is Katie, not Caitlin. Get it right.
Yeah.
And people are I'm so sorry. Yeah, sure you are.
See, the only real time I get people getting my name wrong is on the phone at work, because I will say Grace and people will hear Chris. People have also called me Christy, and I'm like, no. But at
Way
that
off.
point,
Wow.
those I don't argue because I'm not going to sit on the phone with somebody and argue what my name is or correct them. I don't. It's whatever. But if it happens like in person or in a not like over the work phone call, yeah, of course I will be like, no, my name's Grace.
Absolutely.
Yeah, but like in those cases, I'm just like, sure.
In those cases,
that way,
if you let it go.
If you have a complaint about me, at least no one will know who the fuck you're talking about. At least there's that. Anyway, moving on. So Taylor and Dixie singing, and then Dixie starts coughing up blood and passed out.
So dramatic.
It was like
Dead in
dramatic on the
sarcasm.
show. Yeah, it was just like, of course they were gonna do that, and on the show's part, it was just like, yep, I see what they're doing.
Yeah, I didn't like see what was really happening there at first, but I was like, of course it's seeing the moment away from her kid. Naturally. That felt about right. But like I didn't see yet what was actually happening. Not that it made it any better. But then we go to the hospital, and Blue, Dawn, and Blythe are in the waiting room. Blue asks for a loan for Dixie's surgery, and Dixie downplays everything that's happening. Blue tells her that he told them, and Dawn says to book the surgery. He'll pay for it, like not as a loan, as a gift. And for Blythe, she just says like it's a Christian thing to do, but you can just tell it's killing her. And now Blythe and Dawn are fighting, and I'm just like, Blythe, leave him.
I'm like, shocker. I feel like this is gonna be like the downfall of them because, like, I
hope this is the downfall of them. Blythe, leave.
I mean, maybe it's just wishful thinking, but I feel like things are gonna keep coming up, and I don't think it's necessarily all gonna be good. You know what I mean? Like, I just see them deteriorating, I guess, is a better way just to say things.
There is a level of, obviously it depends on circumstances, but like if you can maintain one, there is a level of respect and communication that needs to be held with your child's mother, whether they are other parent, whether you're together with them, whether you like them or not. Like obviously things are different if there's an abusive situation, if you're running, like if someone's like super toxic or something. There are exceptions to this rule, but like generally, ideally, you'd want to have a level of communication. However, they do not take precedence over your partner. Your child takes precedence. Their parent does not. Right. And also, you talk to your partner, and you do not start ignoring them when this parent of your child enters the room. And this is the shit that Dawn is stepping in.
Yeah.
And like, no, I don't give a shit your past. Like, I know we're going to be learning more about Dawn's past in a later episode, but I don't give enough of a shit. Like if the opportunity, you cannot convince me that if the opportunity did not open up, he would not take it. You can't convince me. I don't care what they say. I don't care how Christian and moral they are, or how like any of that. Not shitting on those, but simply talking about it because it's such a aspect of their characters. I don't care. You can't convince me that he wouldn't do it again. A second notice without them being on.
Yeah, and it's like I feel like Dawn just has a really hard time like not doing things for Dixie because they have like a long history. Like he's known her longer than he's even known Blythe.
Yeah.
So I think
that made me confused because I'm like, Ryan is older than Blue by like we kind of determined almost 10 years.
Yeah, so
but he knew
my general impression is that they knew each other before. I feel like they said something about this. Oh yeah, they dated before.
They dated before, and then like they broke up, whatever, and then years passed. Then him and Blythe were married or whatever, and then like obviously between that time they had Ryan, and then there was like the separation,
right?
Whatever, and all that stuff happened. But yeah, that's exactly what it is.
And I'm like, wow. I know we'll talk about it later, but I'm just like, dude, every time this woman is in the room, you like completely go 180 on what you would normally say or do. And I'm like, I don't blame Blythe for walking away from him and like not wanting him to walk her out and drive her home. Like, dude, I'd be pissed at him too.
Exactly. And like, oh my gosh. I don't know. I just feel so bad for her. And like, is the act of paying for the surgery a wonderful, noble thing to do? Absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
But also, let's think about it. That money originally belonged to Blythe too.
Right.
It probably was mostly her money, let's be real.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, sure, it's their money because they're married, but she's the wealthy one in this group. He married it.
Yeah. And I love how, like, earlier in the episode when Dixie was, like, basically wanting Blue to lie about getting money from them, but then once it comes to, like, them offering it, she's like, oh, I wouldn't ask you to do that. And she's so modest about it all of a sudden.
Right.
She's so fake. I hate her.
I hate this woman. I can't with any of these people, to be honest.
I feel like I'm watching a train wreck very, very slowly. And it's so bad I can't quite look away, but it's also so bad. That's kind of how I'm feeling with this entire show.
Yep.
Okay. Anyway, we will have plenty more to talk about, I'm sure, with this whole conversation later down the line. I will try and move us forward a little bit. I just had to rant on that because I was so mad. Right. So, we're almost to the end of the episode. Wow, damn. These are really concise notes, Katie, by the way.
Thank you.
Right. So, Ryan comes home and he surprises Sam with a cat. And this is all after they kind of have, like, the hashing out conversation of, we need more time. Like, yeah, it sucked. Like, they had a whole conversation. Sure. So he surprised her with one of the cats from the rescue.
I always wanted a gray cat.
We have a gray tiger stripe. That's the one that we had that was in the engine. And she's just the cutest little gray tiger. Oh my gosh, she's this. But then Sam surprises Ryan with a dog. So yeah, the cat's name is Smokey, and Bandit is the dog's name. And you know what? It's cute.
That's very Tennessee. Smokey and the Bandit.
Yeah. Well, it was just
but I'm not mad about it.
He named the cat Smokey because of the call, and then the rescue had been calling the dog Bandit, so then they were like, oh, it's so perfect.
Right.
And I just love how one of them was like for cats and one of them wanted a dog, which it made sense that Ryan wanted a dog because, like, obviously, like, his family has, like, 2 golden retrievers.
Oh, yeah, and they were adorable.
Yeah.
They are freaking adorable. I love them. And, like, I get it.
Not as cute as Buttercup, though.
Yeah,
no, I miss Buttercup.
I do, of course. Yeah, I get that.
Speaking of dogs, I'm sorry if you can hear them upstairs. They're being very loud right now. Sounds like I heard a fucking fence. Anyway, sorry, we continue.
But yeah, I love that it is like a tough thing because I was just like, I literally can't have cats, so literally I bad if I was ever in this situation where it was like cat versus dog, because I'd be like, sorry, I'm winning.
Yeah. I was like, I was glad they had a resolution with this. To some degree, things are hardly solved, but it's a resolution to some degree. They are trying to meet in the middle ground somewhere. And like, if you don't have a like fear or allergy to one or the other, you can have a middle ground with pets. You can.
Absolutely.
I think that anyway. I love most animals, so like, I'm fine with that. But like, maybe I'm biased. Then we have Blythe and Vaughn, and they sort of make up. I kind of felt like I'm just gonna say like Blythe articulates herself very well, and she's also far more gracious than I would be at this point. Just gonna say, and she's basically made peace with like paying for Dixie's surgery and everything. But I don't know, it just kind of felt like she spoke what she wanted to say, and like he was still kind of unbudging, kind of trying to not really talk over her, but a little talk over her. Like, I don't know, I didn't like it, and it's gonna go downhill.
Yeah, for sure. I don't care about them. So honestly, every time we have a scene with them, I'm just like, whatever. I am not
Again,
invested
I like
in either.
Blythe, but I will throw Donald off a cliff.
Absolutely. That's how I feel. Like, I also think they're both kind of boring, like, and stuff. So I'm just
Boring,
like,
yes.
not really into it. Like, I'm just like, I mean, most of the show I'm not invested in anyways. I'm not like at all, but like, it's just how it's just a thing. I don't know how to explain it.
No, I get what you're saying.
Well,
You're very right with boring.
Yeah, and I think it's very obvious between the three of us. I barely said anything this episode. I feel like it's not getting my attention. And I feel like don't get me wrong, Chris O'Donnell in a cowboy hat, I'm not gonna complain seeing that on my screen. But Dawn, there's just something, and I know they're alluding to something, and obviously we've got a whole other episode to talk about, but I'm not invested in some of these characters.
It's like I feel like watching this episode is tore enough to even sit down and watch them because there's other things I'd rather be doing and watching and whatever. Um, and so I'm just like I feel like I'm watching these episodes, and it's not like 911 or Lone Star or any other show I watch where I'm like, oh, I really want to watch this episode again. There is no episode that we have talked about that I'm like, I am definitely gonna watch this again because I absolutely am not.
I agree.
I've honestly lost memories of almost everything we've talked about with the show. I'll be real. Like, it pops into relevance when it needs to. Like, in an episode, I'll be like, oh, wait, they didn't mention that before. Other than that, nothing. Like, and as someone who has, like, a 911 encyclopedia for a brain, more mothership show than Lone Star. I sadly don't remember quite as much about Lone Star as I wish. But as someone who has an encyclopedia for 901 is a brain, it's really interesting that I don't remember shit about this show. But yeah, none of us are really invested at all. Final scene is Blue calling Dixie out for faking her, what are they called? Polyps? Is that what they're called?
Polyps.
Polyps, yep. Not like the actual condition, but for faking her attack at his let's call it graduation. Good enough.
Yeah.
And because he pieced it together.
Yeah, because of that one call they had during that episode about the woman who ended up killing her husband and then put him in the car and pretended like she got into a car accident. I
knew we were missing a scene that was relevant to that. Okay, I liked that car accident scene a little, like, actually a bit, because it was interesting.
It was very obvious of what it was, and I was just like, it's not really that important.
Yeah. No, I'm not mad about not being in there, but I was looking at that and was like, that happened in this episode, because I don't remember us talking about the crash. That was just my
problem. But I'm glad he finally picked up on it, though, because I feel like she's been manipulating him for a while, and he's finally, I feel like he's been a mama's boy for so long that everything mom did was okay, or like he got it. So now he's finally like stepping out into the world and actually doing something with his life, and he's realizing that now he's growing up and realizing mom has not always been the best person in his life.
Yeah, well, he's getting to know the other side of his family, and it's just like really, and like, yes, she didn't necessarily fake it, like that was completely real, even though he was convinced otherwise. She was like, yeah, I was being deceitful. And also, she didn't tell him the full truth. Like, when earlier in the episode, she had her appointment and he asked about it, and she kind of downplayed it and been like, oh, everything's fine, like, whatever. And it was just like, she didn't think he could handle it, and like that kind of thing. And I don't know, just the way she was like talking to him and just being like so in his face. I was just like, I hated it.
Yeah. I don't like, here's the thing, and it's just that I feel so bad for Blue.
Yeah.
Because as much as it pains me to call the Hart family normal, he is getting a different perspective. He is getting, oh, this is so painful, a slightly normal family dynamic. I was like pulling teeth saying, sorry. comparatively. And I think it's interesting. And speaking as someone who grew up in like an abusive situation, and only really realized it when I started being exposed to the world a little bit more, when I started really having friends and seeing other people's families, and like especially when I was an adult and started realizing things. It can be really jarring to look back on your childhood and be like, what the fuck was that?
Yeah.
And I think so many things that we've heard about, like, I don't know, him being tucked away in the trailer on tours kind of thing, like so many other things, like it's normal to him. So he doesn't realize like this has been abusive and manipulative, and Dixie has thoroughly manipulated and still tries to manipulate herself into the only person that matters, like slot in his life. God forbid if he did bring a girl home. Oh hell no. Can you imagine how that would go? So, I don't know. I feel bad for him because in this scene in particular, like he calls her out and then she completely like guilt trips him, berates him, like she just completely bulldozes him, and I just feel bad for him, but I'm glad he's starting to see it a little bit. I think this is going to be a very long process, though.
Yeah, I really hated how mean she got to him.
That's my thing.
I was like, and at the beginning, obviously during her scene with the doctor, like he definitely played it up and told her, like, if you don't get this treated, you're went on with the stories of the hemorrhaging and stuff, and like of course that gave her ideas. So the whole coughing up blood and stuff at the fire station, like it would just happen to happen after his ceremony and not beforehand. Like she totally played up on that, and I was just like, I feel bad for him for her manipulating him so much. And I'd imagine, and do we know how old he is? Like he's what, 19, 20, early 20s?
I think we've got early 20s, and that's about it. I don't think we have an exact age. But I think in reference to him, it's been quoted as more than 20 years, which gives the early 20s, because otherwise it'd be said as more. But
right, I would say like 22, 23.
Yeah,
because I feel like Ryan and Sam are in their early 30s. And the reason why I say that is because Sam's a doctor and she's seems to be established, so she would have to be in her 30s.
Unless there's like a couple year difference between them. Yeah. Like she could be like a couple of years older than Ryan, and he's like in his very late 20s.
Right.
And she's like in her early 30s. That's possible.
But for her, she would
please give me a timeline.
She would have to be in her 30s.
Yeah.
And I don't,
because it takes like 12 years to get through like medical school, residency, like all the stuff to become established as a doctor, and she is an established doctor.
Yep.
Right, yeah.
Anyway, so this was an interesting episode, but we still have one more to get through before we talk about our like actual thoughts. I think we all had a little bit of a rougher time with this upcoming one.
There were things that I actually liked about this one, but there was like, obviously there's that huge cringe moment that throughout this whole episode. But like, if I'm taking that out, there were actually things in this episode I liked better than the other episode.
That's fair. It's fair. I think I'm still like, I think when I think of this episode, because of the major thing, like all I think about is cringe. So, but I think like if you took that away, I don't actually know yet which one I like out of the two. Maybe I'll have an answer for that by the time we finish talking about this episode. So, moving on to episode 10, we have a hockey game going on. Well, not full hockey, but like they're practicing in the station with like rollerblades.
I loved it.
So funny. Like I was like, of course it's freaking hockey.
Oh man. And it was rather entertaining to watch.
Poor Blue, not knowing how to skate.
Completely wipes out, takes Ryan out with him, and they're all like, I do that again. And they're like, I don't know how. I still don't know how to skate.
Honestly, same. Every time I would skate, I'd fall on my ass. The last time that I went skating was like when I was 14 and they had like a skating rink in like our mall for like a period of time. And I remember falling on my ass a lot that day. So that's my experience with that. I was never like very coordinated in that sense.
Yeah, I have been like ice skating. I think I went once when I was 5 because I have a vague memory of like being on one of the like hand like one of the walkers almost on the ice and be like really little. Um, and then I went with friends when I was like it was a couple of years ago. I once I was like 21 maybe. I stayed up question mark. I really did hug the side of the rink. And I've been roller skating like twice. And all within like the last couple of years. I didn't grow up doing any of those things. And my sense of balance is atrocious.
Yeah, so literally, me too, me too.
So I'm like looking at this, I'm like, wish that were me, but I would not even stay up as long as Blue did. Not on those shiny ass floors either. Like I would be
right.
Put them on, get up, I'm on my back immediately. That's just where it's gonna go. So going on to like in the same scene, Don is talking about like doing a bunch of like quarterly paperwork. And he gets this collect call, and we see on the screen that it's from the penitentiary. And also like it's like you're getting a call from inmate at that whole thing that comes
collect call.
And collect call. And then he's being weird when Roxy asks if he's okay, and he's basically going through like a slight panic attack. And as he does, he's like, fine, telemarketer. I'm just like, of all things you could have said, I feel like telemarketer made it more suspicious.
Yeah, it's like, so to me this wasn't very surprising scene because I had heard things. So I was like, I kind of knew exactly what this was about and stuff. So that's kind of an advantage to watching it so late as I'm like, because like I legitimately do not care if I hear spoilers for the show. This is how uninvested I am. Like I want to be invested in some things, but like this is how much I don't care. Like normally I like to be like at least be surprised or at least not know certain things, but like I legitimately don't care. So if I hear something, I'm just like, oh, I won't scroll away.
Yeah. I am not really in spaces where I hear about spoilers for this, so like it's all kind of new for me. But also I don't give a shit. I barely give a shit about like regular spoilers for like 901, and I actually care about that show. Now there's been the occasional spoiler where I've been like, oh fuck, I wish I actually had no. Like about Abuela died. I learned about that beforehand, and I was so mad.
Yeah, the one spoiler that always gets me that I was spoiled on because I couldn't watch this episode live because I was having a medical thing going on, so whatever, is when Buck literally came out as bi, and that was spoiled for me because I went online, which that's my own fault, but like I was just like, it wasn't a huge deal, but I was also like, oh, I kind of wish that, I mean, we kind of knew for years that that was a possibility, but I kind of wish that like I had not known that.
Yeah, that's definitely in the list as well, because I also got spoiled on that. Like I think my like happiness at it at the time was just enough to overcome like my
right,
like, fuck, I got spoiled. But like, yeah. So anyway, anyway, Don's call, that was odd, and he just kind of runs off. So they're definitely hammering home the like Blue and Taylor idea.
Ugh.
And I think I texted you guys. I texted you guys this morning. I was like, I'm like 3 minutes in, and I said something in regards to straight people. But my general quote of all this is that straights are not okay. No offense to anyone who's straight, but with Blue and Taylor, that is my vibe. That is what I'm saying.
Yeah,
this was enough to make me lesbian, okay? And I am multisexual.
This is just like, I don't like it. It's so forced, and it's so like they're so cringy, like the way they like googly eyes at each other. It's just like, ugh, it's disgusting. I'm just like, no, let's like end this. And I don't like, there have been, we even may have talked about this before, but there, and I went in Lone Star minus like some of the couple, like there really weren't any in-house relationships, which I actually kind of like because I've come from other shows of this, like other firefighter first responder dramas where there are in-house relationships, and I don't mind them in
Hmm.
some of those shows. Some of them I did mind, but I kind of like that this wasn't necessarily a thing that they were doing. So the fact that this could be a possibility, I'm just like, can we just end this now? Because I don't like the idea of this. I don't see this working out, and I like both of the characters separately. I just don't want them to be a
Yeah.
couple. I just don't like it. Like, I
Yeah.
don't know how to put it.
Just, I don't feel like right now is the best time for him to be getting into a relationship. She's obviously very senior to him in the firehouse, and
Right.
it's one thing if you guys are more of on an equal playing field, like maybe you started in the fire department at the same time, maybe at different stations, and then ended up working together, and then you start having a relationship. But he's literally like day one probie, just learning the ropes, and
Yeah.
that's just a little much. Yeah.
Yeah, we don't need a relationship in the firehouse. It's just messy, and I don't like it. Especially
Yeah,
for them.
I don't like it. For one thing, I was like remarkably uncomfortable watching these scenes. I mean that rather sincerely. Um, because like I can watch so many romance scenes or romance movies or stuff like that. There's just something about, and I think it also links back to a couple of issues I have with like the two characters acting, which I'm not trying to pick on them. I like both of the characters. I don't have an issue with either of the actors, but I think they're both relatively young and new to acting, and it shows when they're in scenes with each other. Feels very forced, feels very cringe. I'm like, Blue, please stop tensing and showing your muscles. Please fucking relax for once. And also, I don't know. I just watch it and I'm so uncomfortable. I don't like anything about it.
Yeah.
And like, I'm sorry. Like, I said this before we started recording. Oh, Katie and EJ have heard me say this, but I'm saying it for the podcast. I am a fan of I am fond of Blue. I do like Blue. And I feel like we've gotten real time with him as a character. As much as we've gotten with anybody. But Taylor, like as much as I like her and I want to like her, she seems funny, smart, she's absolutely gorgeous. We don't know much deeper than any of that. Like she's the sidekick to Roxy's doctor. Like I know she's a paramedic, but we don't really see her do anything in her own right. That's one of my biggest gripes is that I feel like she's just helping Roxy.
And I get that it is a role, and stuff. Like there is somebody that is more senior. There's somebody that's kind of just there. Not to say that they're just there, but I get that
We
that's
saw
a thing.
this. We kind of saw this with TK going over to being an EMT. Like he wasn't originally an EMT, he was originally a firefighter, and then he went over to the EMS side of things. And we didn't have that quite that same dynamic as much. Like he was given that space within that team of Tommy and Nancy. And also like even within Han and Chim, there was a different dynamic. They were both pretty on par with each other. Like there was very little difference in seniority between them, but like we got equal status with those. So it just feels I really like Roxy, and I have mixed feelings on the surgeon bit, but I think it's an interesting change. I just wish we actually got a showcase of Taylor's talents. I just want so much more from her as a character because it's like her being an assistant to the doctor, and she's pretty and she sings. That's all we got so far. And then there's the bad things, but it's all very superficial. And then you're trying to make me care about a relationship when I don't know this character.
Right.
Like
We don't
if
know
they were
any
trying
of them,
to
that's the thing.
exactly, if they were trying to sell me on a relationship, not even saying that I want them to do like this whole concept in general, but they're trying to sell me on a relationship, they'd have better luck in a second season.
I was just thinking that. I was like, why are we
Yeah.
trying to build a relationship season one? And also, I don't like when shows just want you to be invested in this relationship when they like we've had no buildup. I'm not I'm literally I don't think I will change my mind. I'm not going to come around to this. I don't like it. I'm pretty certain on that. I just I don't like all the things I said. I just don't like it. Can we just move on from it? Because I don't like the idea of it. I just the show is being dramatic, so I know that it won't end well.
Yeah. Anyway, yeah, that's most of my thoughts on that out pretty early. That's why I struggle with these scenes. So then we go to like the actual consistent part of this episode I liked. The like this storyline. We're continuing. We go to the grief group. So we see Agent Turner again, or Nick. So happy to see him back.
I know. I was so happy that this was coming back up, which I had heard it was, but I couldn't remember if this was something that aired or not. But I was so happy that it did because this is such like a good storyline.
Yeah, I really liked this. And I am truly getting to like Cammy a lot more too. So loving that. Like as far as bringing me around on a character, they're doing great when it comes to Cammy. Um, but like this, like the whole grief group, like it's a lot more lighthearted than I think she expected or was ready for.
Yeah.
Like they're making jokes both at like their grief's expense, sometimes up their loved ones. I struggle to say expense, but like maybe a little bit about the situation. And she's not ready for it. She blinks when she's put in the spotlight, and she winds up leaving.
Yeah.
And I can't blame her. Like she clearly wasn't prepared. Like she thought she was going to something else.
Yeah, and he should.
But also
like that.
Yeah, he does go after her. Tries to talk with her, but it's clear they're on different. Like she's not. Sorry, my words are failing me. She is not really willing to go back. She's like, I don't think this is for me.
Yeah,
very mature plate interaction. But yeah, it's definitely jarring for her. I feel bad. At the same time, you're like, yeah, like sometimes a great cure is laughter. Not cure, but like a great way to talk about grief and hardship is through comedy or laughter. So I can also see where a lot of people in the group were coming from.
Right. It's a good coping mechanism. I think a lot of people
That's where my dark humor comes from.
Yeah, exactly. Like
some morbid humor.
A lot of people have that coping mechanism, so I get it from the other side of things too. But it is a hard thing to have to like witness, I guess.
Yeah, especially if you go in and like expecting like heartfelt confessions and tears and like solemn silences. I think that's a general idea about like grief groups is that it looks like that. But moving on for now. But now we're back to this. Blue is essentially just being like cringy and weird around Taylor, and it's worth mentioning that during the first scene with this, like Roxy and Ryan were like pointing out like, hey, I don't know about dating coworkers, man, like, and also like you just acknowledge you feel something about her, it's clear. So they kind of pulled him out on it, and so now he's being weird about it.
Yeah, that was just like really, yeah, and they were being like so, I don't even know how to explain it. They were just being like, they were like, yeah, it's not a good idea, and then they were being like so weird, not knowing some things about her personal life, and I'm just like, oh boy.
Then we go on to a call where essentially this girl shoots her boyfriend in the face. Doesn't mean to, but it was clear the entire time leading up that was where it was going. Also, I don't know about y'all, but I don't think a shotgun fires off that easy.
This whole scene was so uncomfortable to watch because it's just like she is clearly not ready to be out there, and then like she's just like like it was just like I was just like, oh my god, I already knew what was gonna happen watching this. I knew somebody was gonna get shot. Like it was just like it was just like so bad. And I'm just like, this is why people should not just be like, let's go to a shooting range, and like just I just
Yeah.
tell me this is They're trying to make it so country, and this is the countryest thing they could think of. Like, I'm just saying.
With shooting clay pigeons. Because of course.
Why not?
The poshest country.
Yeah, and this guy was being an ass as far as I'm concerned, the boyfriend or whatever it was. He was like, I mean, I get it. He was trying, but he was doing it in the wrong way.
Yeah. I thought he was well intentioned, but like clearly she was telling him multiple times that like she didn't want to talk about it, she didn't want to be doing this right now. And like, yeah, it was just, dude, just shut up and let her shoot. Like, damn. And then he gets shot in the face. So with that being said, when the 113 gets there, we meet an officer. And we've had a couple of cops roll through on these scenes, but we haven't like actually met them. So we meet this officer, and he and Taylor are like super friendly. And I'll just say it was so obvious very early on what the fuck was happening. But like they're calling each other boo. They're clearly very familiar with each other.
They were trying to deter everyone, but us three were sniffing it out right away. We're like, oh, he's gay.
Oh yeah.
You're telling me that man ain't gay?
It was like, and then like they're just trying to fool everyone else.
It's the we're roommates, but like in the opposite way. But they're roommates, but literal.
Yeah.
Yeah, this was hard. And essentially, Roxy has to cut it into the guy's eye to relieve pressure, which, no thanks, I'm good. The eye module was very interesting to get through for a UMass class, I'm just saying. So,
yeah,
I did love that.
I can imagine.
I'm like, no.
You're like,
that just makes me feel like someone's shoving an ice pick in my eye to achieve a lobotomy. No.
Right? I have not had the opportunity. I had a couple of clients who went through the cataract surgery, and the family members can actually sit in when they do the surgery if we wanted. And I chose not to, but I was like, I kind of want to, just like to experience it. But I'm like, after watching that, I'm like, I don't think I want to.
I think I would pass out. Like, I don't even think I could physically myself have to get like that kind of surgery because it would just freak me the hell out. Like LASIK, like that whole idea of that freaks me out. Like, I don't have bad enough. Like, I'm fine with wearing glasses, and even then, you still, even after like years of having it done, you still have to end up getting some form of prescription. It's not forever. You're just lessened.
Yeah. Just the idea of anything being near the eyes took a little while to even come around to like wearing mascara when I first started, like at 16 or whatever.
I was the same way.
No, I'm good.
I was like, I've always been like that, and now it's like nothing. But like, yeah, I was the same way.
I wonder if that's just like a common experience. Like, does everyone go through a struggle of having something like poking at their eye, even though it's not really at their eye, or like, oh no.
Yeah, I've always been like weird. Like, even if somebody throws something, I will literally duck or like be like flinch because I think they're gonna hit me in the face. I think it's because when I was little and I played YMCA soccer, I was like hit in the head, I was like hit in the face. So I just have like this defense of always like covering my face when something's flying at me. So I think that's part of my thing. And I just don't like, even when I get my eyes checked and they do like the puff of the air near your eyes, every time I flinch, I'm like, I'm so sorry. Like, it's stuff. Like, it just freaks me out.
Ugh, anyway, well, hated watching that. I literally did actually skip a little bit through the scene just because I could not. No thanks. Right. I will deal with that on calls when I come to it, and only then.
Right.
We're not dealing with eye horror. Okay, thanks. And then we moving past all that. Then we find out that Taylor and this officer live together, and they're really trying to make it seem certain by doing such a bad job with it.
Yeah, I think they might have fooled some people, but not us.
Been around this rodeo a few times.
Well, it's just like that's one of the things that I can always tell about somebody, especially in shows. Um, I'll have to tell you guys a funny story that I'm not gonna share on the podcast later about that whole thing.
It's funny because when they first showed him, I was like, what's his name? Jalen? I think his name's Jalen.
Yeah, Jalen.
Jalen. When they first showed Jalen, I was like, he's either her brother or gay. And by the end of the scene, I was like, he's gay. Got it.
Yep.
He could be gay and her brother, but they weren't quite sibling friendly. They were like friend friendly. I don't know of any siblings that call each other boo, but like it's not.
That's
impossible.
weird to me. That gives me. I don't like
know.
that.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Listen, with a lot of siblings, I would definitely agree with that. That would be weird. But I was like, that was part of the reason I was like, no. He's just gay. It's fine. But originally I was like, there are like two options here. Okay, moving on to like the actual hockey game of the episode, of which we see some. We have Cammy and Blythe at this hockey game for charity, and Cammy is being weird a little bit. And after a little prodding, she tells Blythe about the grief group. And Blythe is trying to like poke into, who's this guy? And Cammy's like, that's important. And she's so flustered.
I love it.
I'm just like, no, heart sign. One day, I hope. And Cammy was like, the group was weird. And Vi says that she knows she still leaves voicemails, and Cammy tells her she doesn't know what it's like. And Blythe reminds her that she isn't the only one that lost him, that Mark was her brother. Like, that's a good gentle reminder. It's true. And Cammy knows she's right, and Blythe says that as her best friend, she feels obligated to tell her that Mark is dead, and she is not.
That was
wise words.
Moment. Yeah, it was.
After a little bit,
Well, and it's twofold too, because she's the sister of Mark. So not only is she telling Mark's wife, that he's gone, but it's also her brother that she's saying is gone too.
Right, yeah. She's so supportive of it, which I would hope so.
Yeah.
I'm wondering if this was like, I don't know if they talked about it before, but I'm wondering if they were like best friends before they married their respective husbands, or like if they were best friends like because they were in the same family, essentially.
Yeah, I could see them being like best friends for a long time, and then like she started dating her brother, and then eventually they got married. And like I could see it being that kind of thing, because they have like, yes, they could totally have like just that sister-in-law bond that some people have. Like I could definitely see it being a thing because they essentially became family. But I also could see it like being a long time thing with them.
Yeah, I'm curious. Like, I don't know if they'll get around to it, but I am curious to see which one it is. Also, like, I know they've said it before, but I was glad of the reminder that Mark was Blythe's brother, because I feel like sometimes making the connection has been a bit more difficult in the past. So, like, the reminder, I'm like, oh, that's how they're connected, because a little confusion. At least on my part. I don't know about you guys.
Yeah, for sure.
Then we move on to back in the station. Don doesn't show up for dinner. He's just holed away in his office. And Roxy's worried. She noticed the other day, when he took that call, that he was shaky, and she thinks it was a trauma response. And like she's saying this to him, and he completely shuts her down, and she lets go. Yeah. I don't know. I had interesting feelings on that particular scene, but I don't even know how to like talk about them. I think I had an issue with her. It was so silly. I had an issue with her like talking about some of the most like generic symptoms, and then being like, those are symptoms of PTSD. They absolutely are, but like that, and also 5,000 other things.
Right.
Yeah, I feel like I have feelings on it, or like just things to say about it, but I'll probably save them until like the end.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's definitely much more to talk about later. Oh gosh. Then we go to the baseball game, and it's basically just two men fighting over a ball. Essentially, like the dad wants it for his kid because it's his kid's birthday. And we find out like the guy that's fighting him wants to like put it on the mantle beside his wife, because she's in an urn on the mantle. And I don't know, personally, I'm with the guy fighting beside his wife. Personally.
See, like, the thing is it fell in a seat. The guy with the kid grabbed it, gave it to his kid, then the other guy snatched it. And in my opinion, it should just go to the kid because they had it first. It doesn't matter where it fell. They grabbed it first. It's theirs.
I do agree with that by like that's how the rules work. I do agree. But also I'm a little sympathetic towards the guy that, you know, clearly having some issues with grief.
Yeah, well, the only reason I don't side with him is because he like pretty much snatched it like out of his hands, and it's just like that is not anyway. That's just it's not yours. Like you need to actually be an adult.
That's true.
And not act like a literal child. Like that's just like you don't do that.
I mean, I agree with that as well. It was also like just a little ridiculous to be fighting over a mole in general.
Yeah.
Just a little bit. And basically one falls to the guy who was fighting to get it for like beside his wife's urn, falls to the ground. And they made it so dramatic, and then they showed like no resolution to the actual thing.
Right.
But
which I was like, okay, so it's no big deal then.
Yeah, like I get why they had it. I do, because it was all linked to Cammy. Because it was all a message on like this guy who was fighting for the ball needing to let go, and I think, you know, they put that in there to show like even Cammy, as she's like leaving a voicemail to Mark that night telling him about it, I think she just has this moment of stopping and being like, what am I doing? Like is this how I'm going to live my life forever? I think that was kind of what she's thinking.
Well, you get into those grief spirals and you sometimes stay in those spots for a while. And for her, the last few years, she's just been like pretending, not that she doesn't acknowledge that he's gone, but I think it's subconsciously she's like pretending he's still alive by calling him and leaving these lengthy voicemails. I'm surprised the voicemail box hasn't gotten full by now.
Right?
I know. I was thinking about that.
Does she like have the phone and is deleting them every time it happens, or like what's going on? That's a great point, EJ. I actually didn't think about that.
That did come across my mind, and I was like, watch her one day just go to call him, and it's like this voicemail box is full, and I'm just like,
you know what, they're gonna do that. Sorry,
no, you're good.
They're gonna do that. Like it's gonna be a major disaster, and she like breaks out of like the commitment to not calling him anymore to like for relief in one way, and then it'll be the one time his mailbox is full or something.
Yeah. Which at that point somebody probably had his old number.
True. Imagine you get this old number and then you just get all of these.
Right? That was a thing. Like obviously it's not.
Yeah.
But it would have been funny. It would just been like, what? I mean, I did read a book where basically like this guy was texting his best friend's number, but obviously like his best friend didn't have the number anymore. Like he had passed, and it was somebody new or whatever. And stuff.
I've seen stuff like that.
Yeah. And like and stuff. So like that's kind of also kind of makes me think of that if we're thinking about it in that sense. But yeah.
So we go back to Bloom and Taylor in a clear the air sense-ish, because he's been acting weird around her and she's going, what the fuck? He basically tells her that he has feelings for her, but he gets they can't date. They still want to go out as friends. He's coming at this completely from the angle of thinking that she's together with Jalen. And Taylor is so confused, but like she's like, sure, I guess. She's like trying to adapt and be understanding. And Blue mentions inviting Jalen too, but Taylor says he likes to hang at home with his boyfriend. I was like, you know, rent's not cheap in Nashville, so they're roommates. Blue, you were the last person to realize.
It was funny because like they really thought that they could fool us with this ploy that they were together, and it's just like if they were together, Ryan and Roxy would have mentioned it been like, hey, stop doing this. No, it was
Yeah.
clearly obvious, or at least I hope they would, but it was clearly obvious of like where the storyline was going. But I'm just
Also,
like,
I think we have enough with like dubious cheating scandals on this show.
Yeah.
It's the first season, guys. Let's not.
We're only halfway through the season, too. It's not like this is like episode 17.
oh dear Lord, sometimes I wish it was, because I swear to God, I had enough with these people.
Katie's like, no more.
Like, I'm glad we're getting a break after this episode because I'm Nashville out.
Yeah, I know. I think we all are. We totally all are.
Like,
We are. After this, 9-1 is going to be beautiful and perfect.
Oh, I can't wait.
I freaking hope so, because I swear, I'm just,
So, Roxy gives Don mail, and Don's shaking. The letter is from the penitentiary, and he passes out. Essentially, he had a panic attack, and he reveals that the letter is from the man who killed his parents. Oh, okay.
Yeah, so
That's all the elaboration we get.
Yeah, so I guess the story behind that is basically his house was purposely set on fire by his brother, and ended up killing his parents, and his brother is in prison for this. And I believe in the next episode they're gonna have, which I believe is also the Dawn Begins episode, his brother is basically like on parole, or gonna be like paroled out or something, and it's like, like a hearing or whatever, and he has to go speak at it, and it's like, so
Yeah, usually if somebody goes up for parole, usually the person that's affected by whatever that person did has to stand up and either say, yes, I support this, or no, I don't. And so he's probably trying to reach out to get him to say, hey, like, I want to.
If they do a forgiveness storyline here, I'm going to bash my head in.
I really don't want them to do that, because if he has all this like trauma from this, and I know he like briefly mentioned about foster care as well, because he said he was 10 when they died. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, I'm a little interested to see this story and see this, but I'm like, of course, somebody in this franchise dies from a fire.
Yeah.
At least this time, it's like he's not any part of it. He's just a victim of it, but still.
Yeah.
Honestly, I don't know that I have like emotions one way or another about like this. And I know we're going to talk about like the promo, because I assume the promo is telling us all this as well. So I'll probably like save my thoughts as far as that goes for that. But
I mean,
I'm kind of,
you guys the whole promo.
Is that pretty much
I
the
did
promo?
not take that, but that was basically like a brief synopsis of that.
Mm-hmm.
You know what? So hey, that was our promo. And that's cool. Okay. I'm sure I will find it interesting to watch, but truly, I don't really feel like I give a shit. Like, just sitting here. Give a shit, I'll watch it. I'm sure I'll find it interesting. Will I have any feelings change towards Dawn? Who knows? Never say never, but also I just don't like the man. So
I think this is the first interesting thing we've learned about the man in these past 10 episodes.
Yeah.
This is true. This is also one of the only actually interesting things that has happened so far. So I think part of me wants to really see how they'll do this, because if we think about it, the 9-on-1 like begins, because it all compares to those begins. Let's be real. We're so well done and thoughtful. Even with our least favorite ones, like they were all really well done and really thought out. And I really hope they make more for some of them, like Robbie. But I want to see how they're going to do it with Dawn, because I even though I have no expectations and no wishes, I will be let down if it is not up to some sort of standard or quality set by other begins. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, for sure. I agree with that. I hope that they do it well.
Okay, at least you guys get what I'm saying. And then moving on to the last scene of the episode. is Cammy and Blythe going to the grief group. And I love that Blythe was there too. First of all, that was her brother. And second of all, she's showing up for Cammy. And that's really sweet.
Yeah, I loved it. It reminded me of when Tommy and TK went to the grief group together. Like, I think it's important to go. Yeah, obviously, like Blythe lost her brother as well. So I think it's important that they went together, and I think it makes it easier if you go with somebody and stuff. Like, obviously you have that support, because that's just like an intimidating like situation to put yourself in. People you don't know talking about the person you love that you lost. Like, it's a very tough situation.
And also, like, it's scary because, like, technically Cammy is, like, moving on to, like, a different path in her grief. Like, she's moving on to the next step. I think she's been stagnant for a while.
Yeah.
And that's scary to do. Because, like, further you move along in your grief, the more it feels like you're maybe abandoning the person, or, like, moving on without them feels like betrayal to some degree.
Yeah.
So it's hard, especially when it's like your husband. Like,
right.
You know, you were supposed to live the rest of that life that you're now moving on to live with this partner, and he's not there. So I know I really like to see Cammy like take initiative. Like, she took initiative, start sharing. She said she canceled his phone service after 3 years, and like she tells us. She tells a story, and it was really funny. So she leaned into like trying out the humor bit, but not like the crass humor that a couple of people were trying to encourage her to do before. I don't know. It was a lovely thing to end on. What do you guys think? What are your final thoughts?
Oh boy, I really don't know with the show. Like, there were moments definitely that I liked in the show, but I don't know. I guess we'll see what happens next. That's really all I have to say, is we'll see what happens next. There are like things that I know are coming up, like the Dawn Begins episode, and then of course we have Eddie and Buck coming. So maybe I'll actually watch the next 2 episodes like on timely manner so I can watch the crossover. That'll fall off a bit. But yeah, I don't know. We'll see what happens. At this point, I'm still like not invested, and like whatever. It's whatever. I just hope that in this last half of the season that we get to know the characters more, because we've literally gotten nothing that I feel like they're not building them up, and I don't get how we're supposed to care when they don't really lead us to care. I don't know how to put it. But yeah, I'm just watching this episode, and I like it's just we're trying. I don't know.
Yeah. We're trying.
I don't think I could pick 5 scenes out of these last 2 episodes that actually like stood out to me. I don't know. Like, Nashville is just not. It's not doing it for me. I don't know.
Absolutely, yeah.
I'm trying, because I'm like, I love first responder shows. Just can't seem to. And you know, so I did watch like Chicago Fire and the start of Station 19, and they were dramatic, but they were action filled. This was like every call was so boring and dry, and even the tractor one from like the previous episode, I'm like, that wasn't even like action. That was just like so.
They're so inconsequential.
Yeah, I can't find the right word, but it's just not. There was no like need or rush. Everything was just like casual. Oh, if we don't get this, it's gonna snap. I was just like, I'm like, honestly, it's starting to feel like the fire side of it is just like 25% of the show, and the rest is all about the drama. And I'm like, and they're just using the fire station as like the background. I'm like, that's not like what we're used to in the 911 world. But yeah, I'm not feeling it. And I'm glad Cammy decided, like, I think she had said she decided to get rid of his phone number and canceled it the night before. And so she, did that, which I'm like, hey, that's great on you for doing that, because, that's a big step. And I'm glad that Blythe went there, but I feel like it's not the 911 franchise that I love. And I can't get into it the same way I can with Lone Star and 911 OG.
Yeah, absolutely agree with that.
Definitely agree with that. Yeah, I think you guys bring up really good points. And like there's some parts of it I like. Like I genuinely like the Kimmy storyline right now. Like I find that interesting. I think it's hard because the only storylines I care about for the most part, like, okay, the characters I care about for the most part, like the younger ones, their scenes can be difficult because a lot of them are newer actors. Sometimes their scenes are a bit cringier, or like, for some other reason, I have a more difficult time watching them. And the older actors who are more experienced, I'm not trying to say anything about talent, but we're just talking about experience and learning how to act. They're so bland. It's so bland and kind of boring. I think that's also hard. I think you make a great point with saying like the fire bit is like 25% of it. Because the other shows, like emergency shows, are supposed to be dramatic.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. But this feels like a soap opera that occasionally makes an appearance on a fire scene.
Yeah, that's exactly how I feel.
I know, I think they wanted it to be more campy, but it's just not, it's not working. The thing is, they're not drawing you in. And let's be so real. Emergency dramas are terrible about accuracy, but a lot of the times they've got like heartfelt moments and deep stuff, and they got the action like pull you along and make you not question whatever the fuck is happening there, because it has gotten a compelling storyline. Nashville hasn't got that, which I think is part of the reason I pick on the accuracy like I do, because I'm like, I'm not focusing on anything else in that scene. I don't give a shit if this person makes it out alive or not. Like, so I'm nitpicking what I see, because it's like, now that doesn't seem like that's how physics works.
Yeah, and I mean, sometimes I don't care about the accuracy because I'm not gonna like pick apart a show for like, it's just like, this is not why I watch these shows.
Yeah. Well, like, absolutely, but that's also kind of what, like, especially after us talking about like the boat scene from before, I'm like, I think that is why it feels like it matters to me in this show, when, like, let's be real, 911, Lone Star, other emergency shows probably are just as bad at it, really. But I care less about it there because I love those shows, and I am not just focusing on that because there's nothing else for me to focus on, Right. So I think that's why I personally pick at it a bit. I think it's just, I don't know. I think I enjoyed the last couple episodes a bit. Like, I enjoyed the hacking storyline. These episodes, like, there were some parts I enjoyed, and then the rest of it just, I wanted to punt them out a window.
Right. Well, yeah, and you bring up the hacking storyline. Like, I did kind of enjoy some of what they did with that, because it kind of brought back, like, because how many times have we said in the 911 talks that we've had about, like, scenes we like, things we wish, we've all said at some point we really wish they would have resolved the hacking storyline. So they did hear us on that. I'm like, that was cool, I guess. And I liked the hockey. That was cool. Like, they didn't do this traditional basketball route, or what's the other thing, that softball, because they did that in Lone Star. I'm glad they chose a different sport. I just think it's hilarious that it's hockey with heated rivalry being so crazy.
I know. I had thought the same thing, and I think I may have also seen memes of them like doing that, and I'm just like, it's not the same thing, guys. It's not the same.
Right. It's still not.
Like, boys aren't here, so it's not the same thing.
Right.
Yeah. I don't know. It is what it is, I suppose. But I don't think any of us are live laughing and loving this series.
No. Live, laugh, ignoring. That's kind of my vibe.
That's true.
Ignore it until I have to deal with it, I guess.
Oh, but hey, we're on a break for a little bit until we have to deal with them again. All right. Thank you guys so much for joining us and listening. Be sure to subscribe to wherever you get your podcasts and check us out on YouTube. For more Visit 91lsroundup.com and follow us on socials at 91lsroundup. We're on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Threads, and TikTok. And of course, come join us on our Discord. The link's down below and on the website.
You guys can follow me, Katie, at For the Love of Tarlos on TikTok, Instagram, and Threads.
You guys can follow me, Grace, at RonanRaphael911 on Instagram and Threads.
You can follow me, EJ, at EJ8302 on Instagram, Threads, and TikTok. See you next time. Bye.
Bye.